We are going to paint the wings right now because they are very big, and this is one of the last parts we have to paint with everything very advanced. So first step is to apply a base coat in all the membrane areas with this dark violet, this dark purple. This is a very dark purple made with black, red, and dark sea blue. And I thought that maybe it's cool to draw some pattern in the lower part of the wings in red tones. So to do that, first I'm going to draw this pattern with white, pure white. In this case, it's a cold white, which is a very intense white, but you can use any other white you have. The idea is to draw a pattern, and to do that, I prefer to paint the lower part more or less homogeneous, and then as I go far from the lower part, I start to draw some kind of waves, dots, or small curves with the brush to help you doing this kind of pattern. Maybe you have to take the brush from the upper part, as I did, so you can draw a pattern that is more natural, like some kind of stains, or I don't know, something natural, something organic. After painting your pattern, I'm applying a contrast ball red over that. As you can see how in the white areas we obtain a very saturated, very vibrant red, while in the dark areas we barely tint a bit the color, which in my opinion looks very good, so I keep it in that way. You can change a bit the reddish tone with the Doomfire magenta, making it a bit more cold, which fits better with the overall look of the figure. And after that, with a bit of blue contrast as well, I create a violet, purple tone to apply the first shadows in the wings. As you see, I'm shooting from below and focusing in those areas, which are the shadow part of the curve made by the membranes. Same thing in the opposite, in the other side of the wings, of course. Those that first shadow will allow me, or will push the shadows of the different wrinkles in the membranes, and after that I will push even more the shadows with black and blue ink, which at the end is a very dark blue. You can see how dark is it, and as you see, I'm once again applying this dark, very dark blue on those part of the membranes that are in the shadow. I recommend you to put the wings on the figure, maybe with blue tack or just with your hands, and take a look on how the light is affecting in the different shapes of the wings to check which of those areas are going to be more dark. So because maybe you follow a different volumetry or something in your angron, and the shadow won't be in the same parts of the wings. Now with this red violet, which at the end is some kind of reddish violet, I'm applying some lights on the membranes, and as you see, I'm shooting from the opposite direction because I want to make the lights not only in the overall shape, but also in the wrinkles that are in the membrane. So in one side of the wrinkles I have the shadow, but in the other I want to have light. As you see, actually, you can see how those wrinkles are now highlighted by these shots with the brush. Of course, with the brush we can boost a bit more those lights by applying the red violet, also to highlight the veins and even outline the membrane in the inner part to separate it from the fingers of the wings. After a bit of work, this is how it looks. So now it's time to jump to the skin and fingers of the wings, the brown parts. I'm recovering part of the areas that are stained by the airbrush work, And the idea is just by adding a bit of ochre, yellow ochre, I'm going to apply several lights. In the upper part, the wings are a bit different. They are like some kind of chitinous armor or something like this, like a alien tyrannid. But in the rest is like any other thing, just a muscular guy. So my idea is to build the highlights here by texture because it's different. So don't worry about your texture. In my case, I draw lines, very rough, as you see. Don't worry about that, because in next steps we can apply some glazes, making them to look more smooth and not so abrupt as they are right now. 2 layers are enough, 2 layers of texture. Don't apply very luminous lines. As you see, I'm far from the pure ochre because at the end it is a dark skin and we don't need to make it so luminous. Once again, in the upper part of the wings, I repeat the process of outline and paint the tip, more or less, I don't know how to call it, the tip of the scales, those kind of scales, with more light, letting them a bit more dark in the opposite. Check all the time your position or the position of the wings from the main view to place the lights in the correct areas. And this is what I told you before, just by adding some glazes now with a medium tone or even with a light tone, we make the texture more smooth and less shocking to our eye when looking at something not blended. The fingers in the wings, once again, you don't need to paint everything, just the upper part, which is the visible part, because the rest of the elements of the wings are not visible. This is a very, very, very big figure, so most of the details are hidden from you, because, as I said, there are too many elements in my opinion. Now it's time to paint the reddish parts and also those kind of, I don't know what is it. This is hair, this is spikes, I don't know. Anyway, my decision is to paint them in a reddish tone, just to apply some different tonalities here to make it less boring. So I cover almost everything with a dark red, and then I apply 3 lights with more and more red and a bit of orange, German orange in the final highlight. But it is something very easy to apply. And with the same combo of colors that we already used in the face, remember, we are going to paint the upper part of the wings that are red as well. So I'm applying the pink tone, this salmon tone, which is the carmine red with German orange. Remember that red needs several layers to show the correct color, the true color that you are applying, so be patient with that. And if you think that you are achieving a too pink color, you can apply a bit of yellow, as I did, to make it more warm, more orange look, and also to gain a bit more of luminosity, because the yellow is more luminous than the pink. I focus in the main view. Those are basically rounded shapes, so I focus in showing you a maximum highlight in these kind of spheres. and with violet red a transition color in between the reddish tones and the dark browns that we have in the wings. And with that, the wings are more or less finished.